The ostrich and the emu have quite a bit in common. Both are the largest living birds in the world, sharing similar body plans and ecological niches, and are even closely related to each other. And many would be quick to remind you, though, that ostriches live in Africa and emus live in Australia, separated by thousands of miles. What if I told you that this isn't exactly the case, as there is a population of ostriches living in the Australian Outback that has persisted for generations? So, how did they get there? Stick around as we dive into the case of the Australian ostriches. Ostriches are the largest birds in the world, capable of reaching 9 feet 2 inches tall and weighing in at about 350 pounds, roaming the grasslands and savannas of Africa. Although, long ago, they called much of Asia, the Middle East, and parts of Europe's home. But this isn't time to be crying about regional extinctions. That's every other minute. And over the years, ostriches have gained the attention of many who sought out to commercialize them. And on paper, it makes sense. Their large size means that a single ostrich can produce a lot of meat. And ostrich eggs are the largest eggs in the world, weighing in at 24 times the weight of a chicken egg. And given an ostrich can lay about 40 to 60 eggs a year versus a chicken's 250 to 300, you would get over triple the amount of egg. Ostrich feathers, leather, and oils are also highly sought after, with ostrich feathers being very popular in high fashion in the late 1800s, with many to view ostriches as a potential economic cheat code. South Africa had seen great initial success at farming ostriches in the late 1860s, with the population skyrocketing from just 80 birds to over 32,000 in just 10 years. And when you need a lot of open grassland, Australia's outback got you covered, and was seen as the perfect location. So, in the late 1870s, ostriches were imported into southern Australia, in hopes of making ostrich feathers a staple export. The ostrich market, however, would fall into obscurity in the late 1910s due to stigmas around feather harvesting in key markets, regional droughts, and a little thing called World War I. And with this, many ostriches would be sold to zoos, circuses, private owners, and in some cases, released into the outback. And if these private owners couldn't keep hold of these ostriches, they would just escape. Escaped and released ostriches over the years had adapted well to life in the outback, forming flocks in the southern outback. These flocks, like Australia's many other invasive species, have disrupted the natural ecosystems and farmland of New South Wales and South Australia. During the 70s, Australians gave ostrich farming a second go, but for a laundry list of reasons, it was not successful at a large scale. With many farmers trying to get their hands on ostriches, the price of breeding pairs had skyrocketed, netting hundreds of thousands of dollars for any ostriches, no matter the genetic condition. And this ended up leading to several birth defects and widespread infertility, making breeding even harder. After all, it takes an ostrich about 2 to 3 years to reach sexual maturity. And during this point, the demand for ostrich products wasn't nearly as high as it was in the 1800s. Additionally, the new wave of farmers were not as prepared for ostrich farming as the old ones, with weak fences being destroyed with ease by these theropod menaces, with many ostriches escaping into the outback and joining into the other free-roaming flocks. And given ostriches can live up to 70 years, it is possible that some of the already escaped ostriches were veterans of the Great Emu War, learning many tricks. Think of an ostrich, but like Michael Ehrmantraut. Over the years, the same defects and infertility issues that captive ostriches faced in the 70s would devastate the feral populations, and currently it is thought that the wild Australian ostrich population is around 100 individuals, which are spotted across the southern outback, particularly along the fittingly named Birdsville Track in South Australia. And so, the financial shortcomings of Australian farmers has led to emus getting their status as the biggest dinosaur in Australia revoked. But given the downward trend in the outback's ostrich population, they are at risk of going the way of the dodo. Ostrich farming in Australia isn't complete doom and gloom, however, as Hastings Ostrich Farm in Victoria claims to have over 3,000 birds. But To this day, ostrich farming appears to be most successful back in Africa, with South Africa accounting for 75% of the ostrich market, and other regions are a little more successful. But maybe at some point, Australia will slowly creep up and end up exporting the lion's share. As for out-of-place ostriches, it would be ultimately better if we tried to reintroduce ostriches into areas where they had gone extinct recently, instead of having them destroy a foreign ecosystem like the Outback. After all, they got enough invasive animals to deal with. And so that is the story of the Australian ostriches. This was a really weird thing that I learned about while researching the Burunger. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out, which is basically a T-Rex in Australia. And well, I figured, you know what? This is such a cool story that I learned about during that why don't I talk about the real dinosaurs in Australia, outside of the emus, of course, and the cassowaries. You know, I just found that so cool. Out-of-place animals in general are just such a cool concept. So it's cool that an animal like an ostrich is in a place where it absolutely should not be. There are ostrich farms in New Zealand, the US, and other parts of Europe and stuff, but I don't think they've established feral populations like in Australia, though. Australia's got all sorts of invasive animals, though. They got camels that destroy things, they got rabbits that destroy things, they got cane toads that just destroy everything. It really does suck, but at least the ostriches it doesn't seem like they mess up as much as like the camels and the toads and the rabbits, but I don't know, I didn't really look into how destructive they were to the ecosystem, and given they're kind of on their way out, they're just kind of a cool thing to go look at. So if you're ever in the Outback in southern Australia, maybe keep an eye out for some dinosaurs. But if you like this, make sure to leave a like and comment down below. What other out-of-place animals would you like me to cover? Someone mentioned water buffaloes in Brazil. When I looked into that, it seems that they've kind of conquered a little island down there. Out-of-place animals is just such an interesting concept. Even outside of, the typical cryptid content that I cover, tends to be the most interesting type of stuff, and y'all tend to watch it more than usual. So I wouldn't mind also dedicating some side videos to out-of-place animals. It's so cool, us just destroying ecosystems by introducing stuff for no reason. But I'm not going to keep you much longer. If you like the video, leave a like, comment down below what you thought about it. If you like this content, subscribe. If you really like it, you can become a member for just $3 a month, but you're a real one regardless. So have yourself a good